Hi guys, this is going to be another developer blog for one of my mods, this time Immersive HUD version 2.0. I will not be releasing anything this week. I was hoping to have this mod ready, but I've decided to postpone it for another week while I basically clean the thing up and fix a few minor issues. I have done quite a few late nights trying to get this ready, and it's just not where I want it to be. It is still far ahead of version 1 in, well, not in functionality, but in performance. If you're wondering what the hell version 2 is, it is basically a rebuild of the mod. I've gone right back to the start, rebuilt from scratch, using the techniques I learned when making the power armor heads-up display. You can probably, well, you can't miss this debug widget that's at the center of the screen giving me constant information. What I'm trying to get is a far more responsive mod. So for example, if I toggle the heads-up display on and then off, I can do this pretty damned quickly, and there's very little delay between the presses. So
I'm busy.
If I just keep pressing it as fast as I can, there you go, it flashes on and off without any trouble. This is something you couldn't do in version 1 of the mod. I've made it so if I sneak and it activates the compass, it comes on instantly. There is no half a second delay. It just comes on when you need it to come on. This is going to be especially useful for things like the crosshair on third person. For third person shooting, not having a crosshair when aiming can be an issue, so I set it so that the dot crosshair appears when aiming. That's the default behavior. However, there was a bit of a delay. Now it's pretty damn snappy. There's a few things I still need to clean up with this, especially in power armor. I still have a few things left to do to get this working, or shall we say not working, whilst in power armor, and working well with my power armor heads-up display. So that's one of the things I need to spend some time on. But in general, as you can see, the response is very good. A lot better than the original mod. Another thing that I fixed was the detection of action points. In version 1, if you were not in power armor, it would sometimes not calculate what percentage of the action points you were at, and you would have to kind of gauge what number to set it at, which is why in the settings you can actually go all the way up to about 120% on the action point. There you go. I've got it set to 90. You can go all the way to 120. I'm going to leave it at 90, and now it will activate perfectly. At 90% it will turn on, and it will stay on approximately 2 seconds after it passes back over that. I've always left a little bit of a delay on these components. Same is true on the compass. Compass shows when I stand up, it stays there for about 2 seconds, just to give you the chance to glance at it if that's what you've decided to use to activate. So this is going to be a lot more accurate and responsive when you take health damage or if you're using your action points. I'm also going to be removing these toggle items from the aid section if you want to remove them. It's going to be an option under miscellaneous. You will just go along to the settings holotape, and probably down here there'll be a, toggle items present or not present, and you can turn them on and off. If you're using something like the Fallout 4 hotkeys to activate, which I am at the moment, I'm using Fallout 4 hotkeys. It's just a little easier. I'll probably show you guys how to set the mod up to use Fallout 4 hotkeys if you want as well, but that's one of the things I'm going to add. Overall, I'm fairly happy with my progress so far. It is feeling a lot better, a lot more responsive. Oh, and if you're wondering, will this mean it has a bigger footprint? Will it cause performance issues being a lot faster? The answer is no. In fact, the opposite should be true. Believe it or not, because I've passed all of the work onto the heads-up display itself, or the bulk of the work, you will find the scripting engine is now under less pressure than it was in version 1, and there's less traffic going through the HUD framework, which can only be a good thing. So theoretically, the mod is even more lightweight and even more efficient than it was before. There is more strain on the heads-up display technology now, but that doesn't seem to have any effect whatsoever on performance. I could not notice any change in CPU use, in graphics card use, and certainly nothing in frame rates. So I will also play around with how often the heads-up display refreshes these things. I'm not sure how responsive it has to be. Currently I've got it set to a 30th of a second. Maybe it only needs to be a 10th of a second, and of course that will reduce the strain a little. But honestly, I'm not completely convinced that's necessary. The heads-up display seems to have a lot of wiggle room, so to speak. I seem to be able to put quite a lot of pressure on it without it doing anything to the game that's detrimental. So I will keep testing that and of course let you know. I'm hoping, as I've said, to get this mod released next week. We're really in the last 10% stage, but that 10% can often be the most annoying. There are just a few niggly things I need to fix. I need to get it working properly in Power Armor. I need to get it working properly in VATS and a few other scenarios. So that's what I'm going to be working on this week, and I will have more for you next week. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.